Hello. Are we doing or praying to get something? What are the motives of my heart when I'm in prayer and believing and trusting for God's answers? I'm Cassie. It's August 9th. And today for our noontime together, I thought I would share some highlights I had about Proverbs 21:2. And it says, "People may be right in their own eyes, but the Lord examines their heart." The Lord examines our hearts and our motives. So it's important to have a posture of serving and humility, ready to let go of my motives and seek His will for me in this time, in this situation, for this person. I don't have this situation figured out. I don't have that planned out always for His purpose. I don't always have the mindset of Christ's love in all the events. Personally, I have to be very aware that I'm not led by my own feelings, motives, selfishness, opinions. When I'm with others that have different experiences, I have to remember that God is in control and He has a plan for each of us in our life. That we all have different experiences that He's led us on. My way is not the only way. And so thanking God is how I've tried to combat that feeling. Waking up in the morning, thanking Him for a body that stretches and actually gets up. It doesn't hurt. Thanking Him for His word and a spouse that helps me dwell in the word a little bit more, that holds me accountable, that He gives us resources and connections that we can use in a Christ-like way, and being grateful helps with that selfish motivation. So in that, for a time in my walk with God, I dealt with a mindset of not wanting to grow because life was enough. I can't handle anymore. No more bad news. Not one more day of the kids not listening. Not one more loved one passing. The struggle of living check to check. The cup gets full, and I found myself praying for me time, that I wasn't made for this or that, the responsibilities that He gives us, and I would run from responsibility or ignore what my part was in that. And what I learned through time with Him was that the growth is in the struggle. And there is wisdom and patience that happens in the wondering and the waiting, leading me to fill my cup with His goodness. Fill my cup with Him and not the items that felt like they were a burden to me. I could let them go. I could trust Him to take care of that. Those things should not fill my cup. And then the focus is on His purpose, His word, His love, His goodness, the gifts He gives of time and people, and just enough resources. To see if I'm a good steward for another responsibility, not to get something, but to receive with a faithful heart. Through prayer and petition, I have to first start with giving Him thanks for His grace and mercy, for repenting for my selfishness, humbling my heart to receive another responsibility for His kingdom, instead of filling my heart with those worldly successes or those selfish desires. With that thinking, I was in a season of life that thought, well, I'm forced to follow him. I'm forced to obey him. What's the alternative? Hell? But in dwelling in that more and being honest with my feelings to him about that, I wasn't shamed or condemned. He actually showed me another perspective. And recently I was given a great visual that I want to share with you. And it's how a family runs. Family lives together, works together, serves together, and they all have different chores to make the household work. And say the young son each week has the responsibility to take out the garbage. Well, the dad has to remind him often because he grumbles and complains about it. He doesn't like the chore, doesn't understand why he has to do it. He doesn't want to, but he's told to, so he does. But his heart is not into it. When the parent can take time to share the why behind the chore and give thanks for the young son's part in helping the house stay clean and nice and not smelling, the young son starts to take ownership and starts to understand his important role in the family. His heart starts to want to because his responsibility in being obedient is needed. A lot like us understanding how God uses us for his kingdom to share his love so others can know and feel ownership for their own eternity. We start to want to follow and obey because he's so gracious to include us, to forgive us, to love us, to sacrifice his son for each of us. And it's a heart posture that changes. So those were my thoughts today on Proverbs 21:2. I hope it encourages you to dwell in the word a little bit more, to hear what he is sharing with you, what he's trying to say to you, and to know his voice and his love for you more. Thank you so much for being here. Go be a blessing this weekend, and remember that you are incredibly loved and you are never